Hi, Assalamualaikum and a very good day to all of you. My name is Shah Imran bin Ahmad Shafiee. I will be presenting about the impact of science and technology on war. So, are you guys ready? Okay, without wasting our time, let us proceed with the topic. So, basically, what is the definition of war and warfare? The definition of war is a situation when a state of armed conflict between different countries or different groups within a country. Meanwhile, for warfare, the definition is the activity of fighting a war which is including the type of weapons and the methods used in war. Here are the list of war that already happened. Actually, there are more lists of war and I choose it randomly and that some of us know about this war. As we know that there is a war between Palestine and Israel that never cooled down. It is kind of sad for us to hear about them in Palestine. What we can do is praying for them, for their safety and everything. If you guys want to know deeply about the wars that I stated, I will provide you a link in the description below. So let us move on to our main discussion about the topic today about the impact of science and technology on war. I begin with the impact of science on war. The major contributions in the development and improvement of war-related technologies are scientists. Scientists such as chemists and physicists. This role enhanced the technological expectations of science and changed the common view of science and scientists due to two main factors. The first and the more important was the impressive success of scientific research and scientists in providing technical solutions or at least partial remedies to serious military and civilian problems. A second factor was the encounter and collaboration of scientists, often from academia, with military officers, industrial researchers, engineers, managers, and governmental officials on war-related projects. I begin with chemists. The deployment of poison gases in warfare, the development of new kinds of poison substances and of measures to lessen their effect capture the public imagination, and there were consequences during the war and many years after. Chemical warfare had an enormous psychological effect and became the symbol for the miseries of the battlefield. Chemists on both sides also developed alternative processes for producing non-useful substances from different raw materials and reactants, for example, for producing toluene for TNT. It turns various laboratory processes into industrial production. In late 19th and early 20th centuries, organic chemists created and invented most of those materials and chemical processes. Many of them were developed and turned into large-scale production only due to the war. The value of physics for technical developments, which had not been as well acknowledged as that of chemistry before the war, was also demonstrated during the war. Physicists developed methods of submarine detection, sound ranging, and wireless communication. Submarine detection was divided into passive means, detecting the noise produced by enemy submarines, and active methods where ultrasonic waves were emitted and their echo from submarine objects were received by a detector. Passive underwater microphone called hydrophones and methods for their deployment in the ocean that were devised by physicists proved useful in locating German U-boat. This innovative method, later known as sonar, became operational only after the end of the war. In developing these technologies, both physicists and chemists used not only extend knowledge but also carry out original research into unknown properties of phenomena related to the practical devices and methods. Submarine detection provides a good example for the research activity associated with technological development. Okay, next I will talk about the impact of technology on war. Firstly, the impact of technology on war is extension of range. As the range of weapons extended and their lethality improved, individuals and units became more dispersed. The introduction of rifling in the 19th century extended the range and accuracy of individual weapons, artillery guns. This development forced individuals to go to the ground and disperse. Increased lethality and division had direct effects on organizations, tactics, doctrine, equipment, force mix, and methods of command and control. Also, this change in turn had effects on training soldiers and leaders. This trend will place a greater premium on the commander's ability to make decisions quickly, the staff requirement to synchronize movement of greatly dispersed units, the junior commander's responsibility to make on the post decisions, and emphasis on cohesion of the force and quality of the individual soldier. The first automatic gun with heavy volume of fire was invented by an American, Hiram Maxim, in 1884. Using a mechanism powered by energy released by the previous detonation, the rate of fire was 600 bullets per minute. Richard Gatling, inventor of the Gatling machine gun, averred that 2 Gatlings were presumably enough to replace an entire infantry regiment, thus reducing overall costs. These trends gave rise to the use of entrenchments and field fortifications in the battlefield. Advances in the field of biotechnology have already impacted human health and nutrition. Yield of plants have been increased using genetic engineering. Microorganisms have been developed and used to clean up various kinds of waste, including cleanup of highly radioactive waste. A fusion of modern microelectronic and information technologies has helped to evolve a new advanced military logistics system that would be responsive to forward troops needs, reduce requirements of inventories, and eliminate redundant processes like smart chips, barcodes, smart labeling of packages, and monitoring and control would radically change the way logistics functions on the battlefield. Next, these are the examples of technology used in war. First is submarine. The military uses submarines to carry missiles, conduct reconnaissance, support land attacks, and establish blockades. The first successful submarine attacks on a warship occurred during the American Civil War, which lasted from 1861 to 1865. Next, nuclear bombs are humankind's most destructive weapons. These warheads draw their destructive force from nuclear reactions, which release enormous amounts of explosive energy. The explosion created a massive mushroom cloud, and the bomb's explosive power was equivalent of more than 50,000 tons of TNT. In August 1945, 2 atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. Next, space weapons include a range of warheads that can attack targets on Earth from space, intercept and disable missiles traveling through space, or destroy space systems or satellites in orbit. These space weapons were used once in the Cold War. Now we are going to learn about the type of weapons used in war. A chemical weapons are any toxic chemical that can cause death, injury, incapacitation, and sensory irritation. It deployed via a delivery system such as rocket or ballistic missile. Chemical weapons are considered as mass destruction and is a violation of international law. The ingredients of making these chemical weapons are choking agents, chemical toxins that directly attack the body's respiratory system when inhaled and cause respiratory failure. Next, blister agents that can come in forms of gas, aerosol, or liquid can cause severe burns and blistering of the skin. Other than that, blood agents that can interfere with the body's ability to use and transfer oxygen through the bloodstream. Common forms of blood agent include hydrogen chloride and cyanogen chloride. The next type is biological weapons. During the past century, more than 500 million people died of the infectious diseases. Several tens of thousands of these deaths were due to the deliberate release of pathogen or toxins that mostly used by the Japanese during their attacks on China during the Second World War. Biological weapons are microorganisms like virus, bacteria, fungi, or other toxins that produce and release deliberately to cause disease and death in human, animals, or plants. Biological weapons are a subset of a larger class of weapons referred to as weapons of mass destruction, which also include chemical, nuclear, and radiological weapons. For example, the plague, smallpox, and tularemia. Other type is mechanical weapons. Mechanical weapons use the mechanical principles like force, pressure, and momentum, which are related through various ratios involving the fundamental physical interactions of mass, length, and time. Examples of mechanical weapons are the lever, the hydraulic press, crossbow, trebuchet, and cannon. Next, the positive effects of science and technology on war. First positive effect is economic growth. War can strengthen an economy by providing jobs. Also, it allows manufacturing to thrive, especially weapons and ammo manufacturing. In times of conflict, more people buy weapons and ammo, and thus more money changes hands, which benefits the people selling the weapons and boosts the economy. Next, technological advancement. Competition and conflict tend to lead to nations trying to develop better technology than their opponents. Also, the technology that is created can be still useful after the conflict is over. Other is the forces or military that bind the unit become stronger. They learn from previous war mistakes. Also, the use of technology helps them become more powerful in the battlefield. Next, the negative effect of science and technology on war is environmental damage. Modern warfare has been known to cause damage to the environment. This resulted in numerous toxins sinking into the soil and sea, many plants dying, many animals siring, deformed offspring, and numerous other dreadful consequences. Next, innocent people being affected. And this kind of war using dangerous weapons can cause many innocent people around the battlefield die and injured. Other is, new technologies are making war more horrific. Day by day, our technology will become more powerful, and this will initiate more chaos and fear towards people. So, these are the references that I used to complete this topic. That's all for me. Thank you and have a nice day.